I'm a good city.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 26th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Rebecca McClure.
Present.
Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Present.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the approval of the minutes, and we actually have two meetings to approve this time. So are there any are there any changes to the minutes from our, not this last meeting, but the meeting before last? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those minutes are approved. And I'll talk now on to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any changes to those minutes? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, those minutes are approved now as well. All right, on to department head reports. First up will actually be Fire Department, Chief Batts tonight. He's got an online class he's got to take, so.
Appreciate you letting me slide into the first spot this evening. Our report's short and sweet this week. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 132 emergency calls for service. We've logged 310 training hours, performed 68 commercial inspections, and installed 2 car seats. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to observe one of the high-angle rescue trainings at U.S. Cold Storage. And I just wanted to share with you briefly just what an experience that was. So the inside of U.S. Cold Storage is negative 10 degrees. And we've simulated someone with a severe leg fracture about 40 to 50 feet up in their racking system. So crews had to go into that atmosphere, set up high-angle rescue rigging, and remove that individual. And it was just so impressive watching the crews work in that atmosphere. I was in there for about an hour, and of course I'm just taking pictures and watching, and they're working in that environment, and just can't say enough about our crews and their dedication to this project. U.S. Cold Storage purchased this special high-angle rescue equipment for us for these situations, and we're working on a department-wide certification in rope rescue technician, and we're getting really close to 100% of the department doing that. And it's just it's very impressive to sit back and watch those individuals work and be able to get the job done. I'm proud to announce that we have released 3 of our captains to our Ride Out Battalion Chief program. This is a brand new program at Lebanon Fire. Before now, when our battalion chiefs were off, whether it be on a vacation day or a personal day, we would just run without a battalion. So we've taken our captains through training practicals and just a series of steps to get them to the level of our battalion chiefs. So now when our battalion chiefs are off, we're bringing our captains up and they're riding out in the battalion. So very happy with those 3 individuals. That's Captains Matt Shepard, Rodney Princell, and Brett Klingler, just doing a phenomenal job for us. Last but not least, firefighter Chris Perry, one of our younger firefighters, very ambitious young man, wanting to work himself up through the ranks, is taking a state certification class for fire officer strategy and tactics. And very proud of Chris and his progress with the department. Moved his family here from the Kokomo area, and very, very pleased with his progress. And real quick, I just want to give kudos to the Heart of Lebanon. We participated in Mischief on Meridian Saturday night, and what a great event. And I know there's a lot of, they're battling a lot of things with the current pandemic, and just what an excellent job, and the turnout of LPD in the different departments of Lebanon to kick off that event. It was really nice to see something happen where there's a lot of smiling faces, and we just really enjoyed participating in that. And I just want to share that with everyone, just what an excellent job all the city departments have done with the Heart of Lebanon in accomplishing that. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board?
No.
Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Next up will be Police Department. We've got Major Bales tonight.
Good evening. Chief Morgan was feeling a little under the weather, so thought it best he stayed at home. So, during the period of between October 13th and today's date, the Lebanon Police Department responded to 571 calls for service. A total of 20 persons were arrested for the following crimes: operating while intoxicated 5, possession of methamphetamine 6, driving while suspended 1, possession of a synthetic drug 1, domestic battery 1, 5 wanted on a warrant, and 1 for child molestation. A total of 17 handgun carry licenses were sent to the state for final approval. Over the last couple of weeks, officers have been working on getting the rest of their training hours required for this year. The training includes our state mandates, which we complete every year, EVOC, firearms and defensive tactics, and we've been able to complete most of this training online through an app that we have through Lexipol. Lieutenant Nash, our K-9 officer, and his partner Anya traveled to Michigan and recertified in narcotics detection. And then just to reiterate on Chief Batts, we had additional units out over the weekend, including our bike patrol for last Saturday's Mischief on Meridian. I talked to several of the officers while it was going on just to make sure they didn't need anything else. They reported everything went very well, and they enjoyed themselves out there again, being able to interact with the public and have something positive going on. And I have nothing else to report at this time.
Thank you, Major Bales. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Parks Department, John Messenger.
Good evening. Saturday started off with the Rotary 5K Trick or Trot event. There were at least 60 participants. I don't know how many virtual. That's one of the, I think, biggest fundraisers for Rotary, and that money goes towards vocational scholarships. Is that right, Becky Allen? I think that's right.
It's going to go to Shop with a Cop, and part of it's going to the Little League to help
Look
with
at
their
that.
project.
See, look at all the great things. It was a great event, beautiful morning. We really appreciate them coming out. Continued the day with Pumpkins in the Park event. It was a big hit. Saw over 200 kids along with their parents throughout the day. The weather was great. The event offered hay rides, painted take-home pumpkins, a s'more station with several fires for warming up, kettle corn, apple cider, and pumpkin bowling, and the mayor can tell you how he did on that. You want to talk about your experience there, Mayor?
Yeah, no, it was great.
He picked up the spare,
I got the spare. I had to
you
figure
go.
out the role of the pumpkin the first time on the first one, but I got the second one, so.
That's great. And Purdue won, so we had a good day there. And let's talk about them Hoosiers later. They were great. This was a great second year for the event. There again, just great turnout. And a huge thank you to all our volunteers. The event couldn't have happened without them. And our park maintenance just did a wonderful job. We wrapped up the day with Mischief on Meridian, and I'll echo what Chuck said. Just a great turnout and just a great day for the city. I mean, it was beautiful, all the participation from morning to evening. And it was just really nice to see the city do that in all the events. We have finished our concrete work for the season, obviously with the weather. Maintenance now finishing up the facade on the back of the pool house. Also be planting a few memorial trees this next week and doing fall cleanups. We've also started to work on our Christmas lights. Yes, it's beginning to look a lot right. Yeah, we can all sing together. Anyway, looking forward to that. We'll have them up early and ready to flip them on Thanksgiving. There again, we'll have help with the utilities on that, and I'm sure the street department will be roped into some of that also. This is the last weekend for the Conservation Park Pond at Abner Longley. We'll close that Sunday at 6, and that'll be the last for the winter time. Had a lot of participation down there, a lot of people coming in and out. It's just time to shut that down. The water's way down too, but anyway, it's been a great season. We'll also be doing some work down there with putting in a new fountain and trying to help out that pond. Its looks. Splashtacular is now on site at the Seashore Water Park. They'll be there for about 10 days, replacing steps, sanding, buffing, caulking, painting our slide structures throughout the next, like I said, 10 days. It's 8 years old. It's shown its some wear and tear. These guys are specialists. They're the ones who we purchased it off of. They'll be coming in and fixing it up, so we'll be keeping it safe and fixing a lot of things that we have to do. And that's basically all I had.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board? Anything from the public? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next up, engineering, no Kevin tonight, sorry. Planning department then, Matt Reynolds?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board. Just a planning department update since the last Board of Works meeting. Our building inspectors have completed 64 building inspections. Our office has issued 30 permits, including 1 new residential and 1 demolition permit. Code enforcement remains active with 112 inspections since our last meeting. That includes everything from trash and debris to junk vehicles and a few grass and weeds, but nothing too much this time of year. Little teaser, upcoming project, Autumn Trace Senior Living is a proposed new development on North Lebanon Street. That'll be coming before the Board of Zoning Appeals next week, and then the Plan Commission a few weeks later. And then our code enforcement officers here this week will virtually attend the American Association of Code Enforcement Conference, which will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We hope to garner a lot of useful knowledge and new processes, procedures that we can bring back to make us a bit more effective and efficient in our work here.
Okay.
So that's all I got tonight.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions from Matt from the board?
Well, I wish we had a tough one.
Any questions from the public? Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and next up is Street and Stormwater Department. David Hurt, or Craig Hurst. You tell us fall break, guys?
Good evening, everyone. Dave had a family emergency, so you have to deal with the B team tonight.
That's all right.
Our stormwater repairs are finished for the year with the weather, unless there's an emergency, we'll be out. At this time, also due to the weather and we're getting into leaf season, we will suspend our crack sealing program. And we're not picking up any limbs, and limbs can be taken to green cycle at this time, also with going into leaf season. Bringing that on, we had our new machines out last week a little bit, making sure we had everything hooked up, everything's working good, lights. We also we're going to ask the residents to please leave your brush, limb, any of that stuff out of the leaves because it does hurt the machines. And we also want you to have your leaves out the day of your trash route. That's how we go by at 7 a.m. Also, we're working on getting some limbs that may be hanging down, hitting the machines, but we've been pretty good so far. I'd also like to give a little shout out to Ryan Landrum and John Toney. While we were out last week testing the machines, they helped the gentleman with his leaves and getting them out, and he called in and he also put a thing in the recorder for him. So just a little compliment for those guys.
Very good.
Good.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Craig from the board?
No, Craig?
Anything from the public? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and last but not least, Communications and Community Development, Joel Page.
Good evening, everyone. It was a couple months ago, not quite 3 months ago, that Jerry Day, she's the executive director of the Boone County Convention and Visitors Bureau, reached out and said, this year with COVID, we're taking a hidden funding that they get directly compensated from the innkeeper's tax, and so letting us know that some of our citywide events, the Savor Lebanon and others, wouldn't be able to be promoted in the 2021 Indiana Festival Guide. And so in years past, the CVB has done amazing things, promoting a lot of different events within Lebanon, obviously, and then Boone County as well, free of charge, and they do it as a service in this guide that goes out to different hotels and different festivals and events, and also it's shared online as well in digital form. So Jerry let us know because of the downtick and the folks that are staying in hotels and things like that weren't going to be able to foot the bill this year. And so the Community Development Department with the City of Lebanon reached out to our events. Those organizers, a lot of them are nonprofits, Battle of the Barbecue back in the 50s, those events, reached out and said, hey, we're willing to kind of help fill the gap there. We're willing to stand in there and pick up the tab for you. Happy to report a number of those different events. Those nonprofits did say, yes, we'd love the added, all the information, and the word is escaping me now, the promotion, being able to have those events and promoted in this magazine and online in physical form. And so happy to report that we have finalized our guide and all the different events that we're going to be publicizing, but want to be able to also pass along that as a thank you. And I want to show kind of an example. I don't know if you can help me out, guys, in the back. This is this year's guide, so this is 2020. This is not Lebanon, not Boone County, obviously. But the events that the CVB was helping out with would be the ones that you would see in the different colored boxes. And this year, joining the magazine, the edition, will be an insert similar to this one, highlighting all the great things that go on in our Parks Department. And so it's kind of a thank you for all the work that John and the team do to help us out with all the crazy requests about concrete bases and all the different painting and all that stuff, where we kind of give them a bunch of thank yous, but something a little bit more, hoping that may do the trick somewhat. So half of one of those pages in the festival guide will have all the great events that the park puts on. And it's a long list from, the Battle of the Barbecue and the 4th of July, Civil War reenactment, all those events will be on there. And they'll be online, like I said, so if COVID, we've had an increase in cases, things like that, if dates and time, things need to be changed, they can be edited online, and so they're promoted on a social media platform as well. And so it's been great to be able to and have the flexibility and through the mayor's direction to be able to see a need and be able to meet a need like that, where so many great nonprofits see. Case in point, the Battle of the Barbecue was really hit hard by COVID, and thankfully many of the great people in Boone County stepped up and beyond and helped out, joining the team there with the Cancer Society. But being able to see a need like that and be able to jump in is truly rewarding. So we thank folks for gambling at the riverboats to be able to give some money, have that money go to our municipality as part of the community development fund. Finally, kind of on the heels of Mischief on Meridian, as we get ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas, wanted to kind of briefly talk and give a quote if I could. You've heard Chief Badge mention it, members of our police department and also our parks department mention it as well. Here's the quote I'd like to pass along. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have the heart. And so that was Elizabeth Andrew, whose quote I took there. We just wrapped up Mischief on Meridian. If you've seen the pictures online, it was changed quite a bit thanks to COVID. It's usually around the courthouse square. It's a big gathering there in close proximity. Obviously couldn't happen with COVID. We had a social distance. And so many different organizations, entities, mayor had a station. There were others of us stationed throughout the run as well. Wanted to be able to pass along something, though. A lot of those agencies, a lot of those events you're seeing are absolutely starved for volunteers. And so, it took a Hail Mary from the Heart of Lebanon's executive director, Missy Krulik, to be able to get enough people to be able to put an event like that on. And so many thanks to those volunteers, but also if I could give folks kind of a plug, a prod, if you will, to find an organization or find an event, find an entity that kind of touches your heart, and feel free to give to that. There are some consequences if that doesn't happen. Many folks remember the Mel Kenyon Classic that was here. That is no longer here in Lebanon as a direct result of a lack of volunteers. It was a humongous strain on city employees, and so asking members of the public to give of their time, and it just wasn't something that our public was willing to do or able to do, and it was one of those that sadly could no longer happen. And so really looking forward to the holidays to see folks giving of their time. And if you're looking for other reasons, if it's one of those things, you could look at one of the health benefit as well. Oxytocin is a chemical in the brain, so I'm told. It's a bit above my intelligence level. But, studies have shown that those who are volunteering, like the warm and fuzzies you get, there's like something in your brain. There's improvement of your memory and also your feeling of well-being. And so when you see that little kiddo at Mischief who's be able to get some candy and have a big smile on their face under his or her painted on makeup or their mask, you can see their eyes kind of squint that they're smiling and having a good time. Inside of you, that releases something that kind of gives you a little shot in the arm, if you will, a shot in the brain, quite literally. And so improves your memory, improves your well-being as well. And so really would like to thank those who volunteered and answered and caught that Hail Mary, and were able to help out an event like Mischief on Meridian, but also really like to see our public look for ways that they can see something that may tug at their heartstrings and give of their time as we approach the holidays.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board?
No.
Anything from the public? Okay, thanks, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports. I'll move on to old business. Is there anything from the board for old business? Okay, no? Then we'll move on to new business then. First item up is a parking spot closure request at the Huntington Bank from Richard Newland. Is he here tonight? He's not? Okay, well, I know what we're talking about here. So I guess Huntington Bank, Dick, if you remember from the RDC, they came and got the facade grant to fix the facade on their building there downtown. And so they are doing that work starting this week. So they just needed a kind of a temporary, just to close those parking spots there so they could do that work there.
They're on Main Street or they're on Lebanon Street?
On Main Street. And it's just for this week is the request, so.
This weekend or?
This week.
This week?
Yep. Unfortunately, they've got some trucks and stuff they can't do without those parking spots there, so. Any concerns if we approve that parking closure request, temporary approval?
Nope.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion then to approve the parking spot closure request adjacent to Huntington Bank on West Main Street.
I'll make a motion that we approve the parking spot closures along the Huntington Bank there. Will that be for that whole half block?
I think it's 3 spots is what they need.
3 spots there, okay. For the three spots there along Huntington Bank so they can do their repairs this week for the outside work that they're wanting to do.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that's approved. All right, next up is surplus of equipment, Lebanon Police Department, Major Bales and Bill. Bill, do you want to introduce these first, or do you want to have Major Bales do it?
I can go ahead and start. We got 4 2014 Dodge Chargers that we want to declare surplus for lease trade-in to Enterprise. There's all 4 2014 Dodge Chargers, and the last 4 VINs, I think, 5170, 7439, 2540, and 5169.
Okay. Any questions or concerns with that? Okay. Would entertain a motion to declare the 4 2014 Dodge Charger surplus.
I make a motion, we declare the 4 Dodge Chargers, 2014 Dodge Chargers surplus.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those are approved. Thank you, Bill.
I'd like to say one thing, that we have finally got all the Dodge Chargers off the road, right, Tony? That's correct. They are not stripped and they're not turned in, but they are all off the road.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Bill. All right, next up is material bid authorization 2021 for the Lebanon Street Department. I can handle this here. So I guess we decided we have enough, actually take that back. So this year we'll have asphalt, oil and grease and automotive supply, stone and sand, and then concrete. This is just our annual, authorizing them to seek bids for that. Any questions from the board on that? Okay.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the material bids for 2021 for the Lebanon Street Department.
Okay, we have a motion to authorize the bids. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those are approved. And next up is the bid authorization for the, assuming this is 2021, street resurfacing project. Let's read out the streets we have here planned. For 2021. We have Green Street, Howard Street, Superior Street, South Clark Street, North Clark Street, Ashley Drive, East Busby Street, Henry Street, Jameson Street, Kennard Street, West William Street, Friends Way, Garofalo Boulevard, Elm Swamp Road, Jason Drive, Brook Drive, Morningside Drive, Brookside Drive, and Sunnyside Lane. So this will be part of our community crossings submission, application. So we'll authorize them to seek bids for it. If we don't receive the community crossings funds from the state, then we'll just essentially pave what we have the money budgeted for. So there's no concerns of going over on that. So any questions on seeking those bids? Okay. We entertain a motion to authorize the street department to seek bids for our 2021 street resurfacing program.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the 2019 street resurfacing.
2021.
21, I'm sorry,
Yep.
2021. Resurfacing
Program.
projects bids.
Okay. We have a motion to authorize. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. And last item here is a audio-visual city council chambers update from Joe and Matt Hutton.
Evening, everyone. I'm Joe LePage, Community Development Director. This is Matt Hutton with Lebanon Utilities. He's usually working behind the scenes. As we kind of get rolled, this is a brief, very brief conversation, just kind of a heads up. This is kind of a precursor to a similar conversation we will have with our city council, but want to just have some transparency and a brief conversation. I have a handout, if you don't mind, and I'll kind of talk through that.
And so what happened about 3 weeks ago when we went to stream the meetings, they acted normal, but then they didn't stream. Come to find out, YouTube had changed the interface on it, so the vendor had a theory that YouTube's tightened up its security standards, and so the webcasters we have now are obsolete. And the idea we came up with was to get a computer so everything would be more robust, and we wouldn't be just stuck to YouTube. We could do a lot more different streaming options.
Okay.
So taking a look at some of the things that are on this list, and Matt can kind of give some clarity. Currently, right now, we are streaming this Board of Works meeting. We'll be streaming the one in the City Council. But to use an analogy, it's kind of being held together with chicken wire and with duct tape, and we borrowed a computer from IT downstairs. And so this would enable us to be able to do a lot of our stuff in-house between Lebanon Utilities and the City of Lebanon. So obviously the computer that Matt was talking about there, I don't know if any of the other things here, Matt, that you see on the list that may be worth highlighting or drawing your attention to.
The other thing that computer will have, it'll have software that you'll be able to capture all the video instead of putting it on a DVD. We'll be able to put it on a flash drive and stuff like that, so make it a lot easier that way.
Okay.
And so, again, this is very brief, certainly not asking for anything other than your time to be able to kind of listen to this. There's a part B to this conversation, and that is, you may have noticed when we had the COVID social distancing practices where we weren't in this building, many of us met on Microsoft Teams or kind of like a Zoom call, WebEx, and so we had to kind of social distance a lot of our folks out here in the building that weren't able to connect from home. And so we had to have them outside of this room because there was a delay, feedback, and we were just not equipped to do that. Matt, thankful to him for reaching out to the company that installed all of our software, the cameras and things like that, to be able to upgrade that software in case there is an uptick where we do have to meet remotely once again. We could have someone in this room and being able to hear. You may remember we had to play a game of telephone at an RDC meeting when Baker Tilly was going still remote, and so we had to ask the questions and be able to feed those back to you. This upgrade would allow us to be able to have someone on the other line that is operating remotely, hear what you're saying, and be able to speak to you in real time, as opposed to what's happening now, kind of a, like I said, a chicken wire and duct tape approach. And so again, appreciate the time of our Board of Works, and we will have a similar conversation with the City Council and one as well with Lebanon Utilities. But wanted to bring that to your attention. We are streaming these meetings now. We've had to kind of, on the fly, when Matt noticed this, we had to come down with that physical DVD, and we had to find a computer with a DVD player, and then we had to edit things and to be able to export them to be able to have that so folks to be able to see the meetings. And so there was some transparency from Lebanon Utilities, and it was also a Parks Board meeting where that streaming service went down. And so I'd like to have you look at that, and member of the City Council here, Mr. Robertson, Councilman Robertson, this will be part of a conversation we have later to figure out what to do in the partnership that we have with Lebanon Utilities to help deal with this issue and see what steps are taken after that. So,
How about televising on Comcast and the TV? Because that hadn't been online for quite a while.
Yeah, that's on, it should be working, or unless it's gone down and I have not, or no one's notified me on that one.
All right. 'Cause I don't think it's been on the last 2 weeks.
Okay,
a month?
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'll look into that.
Okay. Thank you, Matt and Joe. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Okay, that concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything from the board? Okay, we'll move on to claims then. I'm going to entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I'll make a motion, we pay the claims.
We have a motion to pay the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
I think it was Alan. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. And any announcements or discussion from the board? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Motion in a second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be November 9th at 5:30 PM. Thanks for watching.